And we're live. Hi everyone, I'm Allison. I'm your South Langley Community Director with the Greater Langley Chamber of Commerce. We're here to do a little chat today about resilience with Rachel at the Fraser Valley Cider Company. So resilience has become an essential element for businesses in the Greater Langleys for the last 2 years, particularly being faced with the enormous challenges of COVID.
Yeah.
So we're pleased to present this series of chats and have you with us today. So I'm hoping you can just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your business and your story.
Okay, well, hello everybody. I'm Rachel Bolongaro and I'm the owner and kind of general manager, chief cook and bottle washer at the Fraser Valley Cider Company. And we started the cidery in 2016, so we're in like year 8 now, and we've grown our cidery from 8,000 litres in our first year to we're doing 65,000 litres this year. So it's been a massive exponential growth. And I think we reached our capacity last year, both in terms of space, patience and time, so we probably won't grow too much bigger than that. My background is in engineering. I did a 20-year career as an engineer, and I just had a massive midlife crisis at my desk one day and thought, can I do this for another 20 years? And I decided no, and I took a week off.
Gone?
Yeah, and I happened to visit a cidery on the island, and I thought, this is really cool, I'd like one of these, and we didn't have one in the Lower Mainland at the time. So I took a 1-week cider making course. Came back, said to my husband, we need to buy a farm, and he said, wow, that was a really expensive week's course. And we bought our 10-acre lot in Langley, and we've planted 3,000 apple trees, and we grow our own apples, harvest them, press them, and we also work with some Okanagan growers to bring in apples from across BC. And we run a tasting room here, so you can come in and you can have flights and taste our cider and buy bottles and have a lovely time sitting on our patio, and we have food, and this year we're kind of super excited because we've got a big pizza oven. So we're going to be extending our hours into the evening and serving pizza and cider. What's not to like?
That sounds incredible.
Yeah,
That's
we're
awesome.
excited.
Yeah.
We're excited.
I'm excited. Okay, excellent. Okay, so now we're getting into the tough questions.
Okay.
Tell us about some of your biggest challenges that you and your business have faced, or even the agritourism industry have faced in the last few years here.
Yeah, so I think I want to start by saying we've had 2 great years, because people still drink in a pandemic, and in fact they probably drink more in a pandemic. So,
True.
So I don't feel like we've suffered, but I do feel like we've worked a lot harder for our money. And I think the biggest challenge was the inability to plan and the requirement to pivot at every stage. I mean, we not just had plan A and plan B, but we also had plan C, D and E. And I'm a planner and a control freak, and this whole situation has been very uncomfortable for me because you can't plan anymore, right? You can give it your best shot and you can have contingency plans, but it's been so up and down that you couldn't really hang your hat on anything. So I think that's been our challenge. And I think the other thing, my staff have been amazing and have been resilient and have turned up and worked super hard in really challenging conditions, and running around in 46-degree heat this summer with a mask on, serving cold drinks, you know, can't say enough good things about them. But the thing we have not enjoyed is the social policeman rule.
Okay.
You know, so there's been regulations that obviously we've had to comply with, like no more than 6 to a table and vaccine passports and stuff like this. And by and large, people have been good with that, but there's still been an element of this is not what we signed up to do, right? And dealing with those odd people that have not appreciated why we have the rules has been challenging and unpleasant for some of our staff. So that's been our biggest challenge, I think.
That I can imagine that would be extraordinarily difficult.
And I have to say, like 99% of the people who've been here have been great and have been good with it.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, but it's just that one aspect of the job you never realised you were going to be doing going in, right?
Fair enough. And then 2 weeks from now the rules could be different. And
exactly.
Try again.
Yeah,
right?
and hopefully there will be in a better way.
Yes, upcoming. Maybe we'll see something better. Excellent. So you touched on it a little bit about how you guys have been resilient and just kind of moving mountains, pushing forward and following guidelines. Is there anything else you want to add to your resiliency?
Well, I think we do have a saying at the cidery, which is happy COVID, right? Happy COVID, because COVID has been rubbish for many people in many ways, and tragic for some people, right?
Of course.
And but there has been elements of it that have an unintended silver lining. So there's been lots of stuff that we've had to change the way we do things, and then when we change it, we realise it's actually a better process. So there's some things that we will be keeping going forward that we've been forced to do, but it's actually, this is a better way of running our business. For instance, we used to do self-serve at the bar.
Right.
And obviously then we couldn't have people coming inside, so we were doing table service, and again, that's a lot more work for us, but it does allow us to give a better guest experience, and I think people have been enjoying it, and it also gives us more control and supervision over our space, so we will keep that going forward.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's wild. You never anticipated doing table service here.
Yeah.
But now that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and some of our events as well, like, you know, for instance, we do music nights in the tent, right?
Yes,
and so,
those are awesome, by the way.
Yes,
absolutely
we have
awesome.
a great flower truck that comes as well. And it's 60 people, so we would sell 60 tickets. Now, because of COVID, we couldn't have 60 people sitting next to each other, so we have to sell in safe bubbles of 6.
Cute.
And that's actually better because now we have 9 or 10 tickets to sell rather than 60 tickets to sell. It's not an issue with the cancellation, because if somebody cancels within the group, then the friend group finds somebody else to fill that space, so it's not our problem. And people come as a nice little cohort and are ready to have a good time with their friends. So it's actually made for a better atmosphere in the tent as well. So going forward, we won't sell tickets individually, we'll sell tables, and you come and have a table with your friends. So that's worked well as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to remember that. You've
Yeah.
got to book a table this summer.
Yes.
Okay,
And
excellent.
they're fun.
They are fun. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you have learned about yourself and your team, or your business, or the agritourism profession or industry during COVID specifically.
Yeah. So I've learned that as a team, we are lean, mean, and adaptable. I have the best people here, just the best, and they've been innovative, they've been ready to change, ready to adapt, ready to work, and I couldn't have done any of this without them. And I think something else that we've learned is, like, being a small kind of flat organisation with no hierarchy and no head office to answer to has allowed us to pivot on a dime, and a decision made on the Saturday is implemented on the Sunday, and we go with it, you know. So there's a lot of advantage for being able to refashion your vision and make it happen and go for it straight away, and that's been essential, I think.
Yeah,
in the past 2 years. Yeah.
And that, I think that leads perfectly into my next question.
Yeah.
You're just reading my brain a little bit. Is tell us about those pivoting or innovative moments that you've had to turn on a dime.
Yeah. So I mean, we were challenged here in that we have very little indoor space. And with the spacing requirements, we only really have room for 2 tables inside, and initially a lot of our staff weren't cut. You know, if we wanted our staff in there, then we couldn't have customers in there. So we had to put everybody outside, and we had no covered patio area at that time. So it's how do people stay warm and dry and still encourage them to visit the cidery. So we bought 3 bell tents, and we put these bell tents up, and we put fires in them, like proper log fires. And so you could book a bell tent with your friends, and it would come with some mull cider on the log fire, and we had our best full season ever because people loved those tents.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your best season ever with
Yes,
that too.
thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Now the staff hated them because every time the wind got up, the tents would fall over and flog themselves into a pile of mud-covered canvas that we had to wash and re-pitch, which is why they're not up this year. But they were great, and I have plans for them in the future. I'm not sure what, but they're up on a shelf there waiting for me to be innovative.
There you go.
So we learned from that, and in the second winter we're like, okay, well the tents are great. We don't want to put them up again because they were a bit of a pain.
Right.
But we learned from the fact that people wanted an experience that they could book and give their friends a reason to gather around. So the second winter we bought a load of fondue pots.
Yes, I remember the fondue. Yes.
And we did cheese fondue, so you could reserve a table and come and have a fondue with your friends. And then the whole fact of being open year round, and the fact that our customers were so good that first winter of COVID, they would sit on the patio in the wind and the rain and the snow and the dark, and we're like, okay, we've got to make these people comfortable.
Yeah.
So we've invested in a covered patio, and it's beautiful, and it's kind of like trebled our service space, and we've got signs for it now, so we can enclose it in, and so it's kind of like led us into expanding our capabilities year round. So again, a COVID silver lining, right?
Yeah, I mean, not everyone had an awesome COVID experience, but it sounds like you guys were right on it, and you were on the curve of riding it out, doing what you needed to do, and then thriving on top of that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it was exhausting, and especially to start with, it was scary as a business owner, knowing what was coming, you know, but the fact that we have such an amazing team here, and people aren't afraid to take a risk and be creative, we got through it, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's quite a story to tell in your, what, first 6 years of business then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were fortunate in that by the time COVID hit, we already had a bit of a following, and that certainly helped us through. I feel very bad for the people who opened at the beginning of COVID. That was an uphill climb, right? When you didn't already have your loyal following. But big thank you to our staff, big thank you to our customers for sticking with us, I think.
Awesome. And I think we just have one more question, or time for one more question then. And that is, what does your new normal look like going forward here at Cider?
New normal. New normal, I think, involves a lot more pizzas.
Pizza. I like it.
Yeah,
cider, pizza.
Yeah. So I think what we've decided is like embracing the whole table service thing, and we're going to extend our hours and go later on in the evening, so we become more of an evening destination.
Yep.
So I've been resisting that for years because I like to be in my pajamas by 10 o'clock.
Okay, fair.
Somebody's got to stay open, right? And so I think what we'll do is we'll build on the success we've had by extending our hours, being year round. We've hired full-time staff so that we're open not just May to October now, it's all year round, and just kind of doing more with what we have. So that's our new normal.
Well, that sounds incredible. It's still exhausting, to be honest.
But fun.
Yes.
You only call it work when you want to be doing something else.
I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today,
You're
Rachel,
very welcome.
and for having me. And I guess the last thing to say is cheers, everyone.
Everybody.
Cheers. Thank you, and have a good night, guys.